looking forward to building on the previous couple weeks and hit the road again on Wednesday against Northwestern. And you watch the film of these guys, they will absolutely have our full undivided attention. They've got an outside hitter as I'm watching that we haven't seen anybody that's as dynamic as her up to this point. And I'm not sure we will. And yeah, I know some of the people that we've seen against on the pins this season, and it may sound like hyperbole, but this kid is unbelievable and is pretty exciting to watch and probably worth the price of admission. So, you get in there and you watch a little bit of that, and I don't think there'll be any chance that we won't have our eyes going forward. So looking forward to get back in the gym and see if we can't keep this train rolling.
Questions for Coach? Dennis?
A lot of talk about how you flip things at the end of sets, that you've been able to close them out lately. And is that the law of averages catching up to you, that if you play enough close ones with good people, eventually you will win? Was there strategic things, changes that you made along the way, or just mental elements that are part of that?
You didn't pick up my subtle references that we're moving forward with that long soliloquy there, did you? It's I'll tell you, we finished well, but I think the thing that jumped out at me as our previous couple matches is there weren't long strings of points at all. We gave up I think one time against Penn State where a server went back here and scored 3 points off of her serve, and I think that happened one time against Nebraska. And there were rarely at any point where servers were going back and serving 2 points. And I would say for a good portion of the early part of the season, we've gone on long runs with our serves, and we've also given up long runs off of our serve. And the past 2 matches, we haven't done that at all. Now, is that a blip on the radar, or is that something that we're locking in and getting better at? I think we'll probably see, but I think that's been a big key. The thing that was kind of nice, previously the past couple matches is we've ran out of subs continuously, and we have finished well, even though we're out of subs. And even if server seed patterns or defense is a little bit different, we've been able to roll with it and still find ways of playing clean volleyball. We haven't given up a ton of errors. I think that's another reason why we have finished well and why we haven't given up long runs of points. We haven't teams have had to earn their points against us. We haven't been chucking balls out of bounds or things like that, and that certainly helps.
Dennis?
I was waiting for that. Sid's been pretty good from the day she got here.
Yeah.
It seems like her game keeps getting to a different level, and Nebraska might have been as good a level as she's been at. What are you seeing in her and the ability to move the ball around and how that's grown over time?
Yeah, I see a player that is totally trusting herself and trusting her teammates, and playing free and with a lot of confidence and a lot of people. It's I think that's when she's operating at her best. I think that's when we're operating at our best. At our best is when she's playing with free and not afraid of making mistakes. And her range has gotten a lot bigger. I think she's able to see things that are happening, in real time a lot more on the other side of the nets. And then I think she's thinking things through appropriately after the play is over, and rather than hurrying up and getting to the next play or being overly emotional about what happened. I think there's a little bit more of clear-minded and all right, what just happened? How did they just go about things? How do I want to counter this with our team? and she's got full command of the offense and transition right now. It's certainly fun to watch, and I think how she's communicating with her teammates is growing and different, and getting them in a more comfortable, confident place. So yeah, it's certainly been fun watching her evolution. You're right; she came in as a really good player, but I think anybody that's watching her is seeing that her game continues to evolve, and it's probably never been better than what it is right now.
George.
Coach, do you feel, the confidence or the momentum your team has gained from coming out of this span from Purdue to Penn State and Nebraska with those wins heading into this Northwestern match?
I think any team is going to get confidence from winning, but I think the deeper confidence also comes from how you're playing the game, and going back and watching the film and seeing certain areas that you're getting better at. The things that when you get in the gym and you're working on things, things that you've got to get better at from watching previously on the film, and then you get in there and you get to work, and then you go back and you're watching the film, and you see there's improvement. Man, that's like a drug. You want to get back into the gym. You want that feeling to when you're seeing hard work paying off. So yeah, there's confidence from winning, but I think there's the real deep confidence comes from improvement, and I would say there's quite a few of our players that are feeling that, and I would that's one of the joys of the season. That's one of the joys of the grind.
Dennis.
With your attackers, besides Dana, who's kind of steady Eddie from match to match, it's been somebody different or different combinations. Molly's had a big match, I think, against Indiana. Grace had a big one. At Nebraska was Danielle. Is that Sid finding who's got the best matchup? Is it players taking advantage of something from match to match, or just having that variety of options to go to?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably a combination of some different things. It's it's her knowing what the opposing team is trying to do, and trust in everybody. I think it's there's a lot of people that have had pretty good weeks. Madison has been kind of trying to work through some health issues and trying to manage that, and I thought. I thought she was huge the last couple matches. I mean, really, there's been her and the training staff have worked really, really hard. Her and trying to get healthy, and when she is, I mean, she's an elite player in this sport, and she's not back all the way, but she certainly was able to give everything that she had, and that just makes us a lot better. Molly and Grace, what I think they're getting a lot better at is, their range and, not trying to pull everything down. I think sometimes against really good blocking teams, you try to pull everything down and always trying to, hit down to the floor. There's some really good teams that are just going to be, you're going to have a wall in front of you. And, I like how high they're reaching and hitting with range and hitting what the defense is given rather than just trying to slug away. And, I think we're getting better at reaching high and hitting certain areas of the court. I think Molly's off-speed game has gotten a lot better. And so that I think anybody who's been watching has been able to see that there continues to be growth from those guys. And which is great because those are things they've been working really hard. Danielle had a really big match, came up with a lot of really big swings and against Nebraska. And I know she's working really hard, coming in early, staying late type of deal to expand her game, and we need her. I mean, she's a really important player for us, and she's an important player for our block of being able to make the right reads and close that, because I think she's got the ability to be a dynamic blocker. But, I think early on the game was getting a little bit too fast for her at times. And I think it's starting to slow down a little bit. And I think she's starting to hit with a little bit more range. And we can, Sid's obviously getting a little bit more comfortable being able to set her when she's out of the pocket. And I think that certainly makes it easier for outside hitters to be able to, if you can hold that middle, that certainly makes the outsides a little bit more. So I think a little bit of the success also for outsides is Danielle's continued development.